Today we're going to start talking about volume, which is the amount of space inside a 3D object, which can then tell you how much that object can hold. So let's take a look. If you look at your math chart, at the very bottom or towards the bottom, it's going to tell you volume. And when you look at this, it says triangular prism, rectangular prism, and cylinder. And over on the far right side, it all says the same thing. V equals capital B H. Capital BH. The capital B does not just mean the base. It means the area of the base. Area of the base. That is what this big B stands for. It doesn't mean the same thing if you look higher in your math chart where it says area of a shape. It has little b times h. Little b times h. The little b's just mean the base of the object times the height of the object. But what you have to keep in mind is the big B means area of the base. And this is where some people are going to mess up. Let's check out a couple examples so that it can help you with your homework. Here's an example finding the volume of a rectangular prism. So there's a couple things you need to keep in mind. When working out a volume answer, the first thing you want to do is identify the base. The base of this object is a rectangle. It might even be a good idea for you to trace over or highlight with a color the base of the object. This will help you identify which numbers to use when finding the area of the base. If I want to find the area of a rectangle, because that is what the base is, that's going to be my second step. To find area of a rectangle, all you do is length times width. When you look at this shape, the length and the width are labeled for you. They're 6 and 3.4. So I'm going to multiply 6 times 3.4. When you multiply this out, you get 204. And then if you look back in your question, there's only one digit behind the decimal. So in my answer, I also only want one digit behind the decimal. So the area of the base is 20.4. Then the third step is, now that you know the area of the base, you should multiply by the height. So the height of this rectangular prism is 4.8. So I'm going to take the area of my base, which was 20.4, and I'm going to multiply it now with the height of the overall rectangular prism. So if I do 20.4 times 4.8, I'm going to work this out and see what I get. Okay, when you add those numbers together, you should get 9792. When you look back in your question, there's a 4 behind the decimal and an 8 behind the decimal. That means I need 2 digits behind the decimal in my answer because I have 2 digits behind the decimal in my question. So my final answer, the volume of this rectangular prism is 97.92, and volume is always measured in cubic units. So to do cubic, you always do a 3. So let's check out another 3D shape. This one is also a prism, but you'll notice the ends or the bases are not rectangles. The bases on this shape are triangles. So I'm going to identify the base. That's the first thing I need to do. The base of this shape is a triangle. Okay, once you know what shape it is, you need to find the area of that shape. If I want to find the area of a triangle, I'm going to do the base of that triangle times the height of that triangle and then divide it by 2. If you look at this one, they're labeled for you. The base of this triangle is 8. The height of this triangle is 7. So I'm going to do 8 times 7 divided by 2. 8 times 7 is 56. If you divide 56 by 2, you should get 28. So the area of the base is 28. Your third and final step when finding volume is to multiply by the height. And the height of this triangular prism is 20. So I'm going to multiply 28 times 20. And that should equal 560. So my final answer, the volume of this triangular prism is 560. It's in centimeters, and volume is always measured in cubic because we're saying how many cubes fit inside. You need an exponent of 3. So the last shape we're going to look at is coming up next. Our last shape is going to be a cylinder. So again, my first step is identify the base. The base of this shape is a circle. I'm going to shade it in. And when you look at this one, I'm going to put that line back in for a second. That goes all the way across. The 15 was pointing down at the whole entire line that goes all the way across the shape, which is the diameter. So I'm going to label this with a D. That's the diameter. If you think about the base being a circle, my next step is find the area of the base. If you forgot how to find the area of a circle, you can look up at your math chart. It should be radius times pi. And for pi, we're always going to use 3.14. When you look at this picture, this amount that's given to you right here is all the way across the circle. That is called the diameter. But we only need a radius. So you want half of 15. The radius would then be 7.5. So to find the area of the base, I'm going to do 7.5 times 7.5. When I work this out, I got 5625. But I need to look back up in my question because I have 2 digits behind the decimal, a 5 and a 5. So in my work, I also need 2 digits behind the decimal. Now I'm going to have to do that number, 56.25 times pi. Okay, I'm still finding the area of the base. 56.25 times 3.14. Now, when you work this all the way out, so that the video doesn't go on forever, you should get 176.6250. Now, to put the decimal in, we need to look back in the question. I've got a 2 and a 5 behind the decimal. I have a 1 and a 4 behind the decimal. Altogether, that's 4 numbers. So in my answer, I also need 4 numbers behind the decimal. So if you notice right now, 6250, those are my 4 numbers behind the decimal. This is the area of my base. I'm not done, because the third and final step when finding volume is multiply by the height. So I need to multiply 176.6250 times the height of this object, which is 21. When you get that totally worked out, that will tell you the volume answer. And the volume of this cylinder is 3,709 and 1350, or 3,709 and 135 thousandths. This was measured in centimeters, and volume always is measured in cubic units, so I'm going to put a 3 for my exponent. So just to recap, to find the volume of any object, you should do the area of the base first, then times the height of the object. When you see this at the end of your math chart and it says BH, 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 this does not just mean multiply the base times the height and stop. That capital B means find the area of the base first, then multiply by the height. If you guys have questions, please feel free to ask me. Good luck on your homework and have an awesome spring break. I'll see you in 9 days.